guys, welcome to Chapter 2, Lesson 1. Today we're going to be talking about the addition properties. In math, properties are rules you can use with numbers. So we've got three properties we're going to be talking about this video. Commutative property, which is the flip-flop property, says 1 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 1. Flip-flop, flip-flop. Notice those numbers are flip-flopping. Then we have the identity property that says any number plus 0 is going to be the original number. And lastly, we have the associative property, which talks about adding three numbers, like if I was going to do 1 plus 2 plus 3 and 1 plus 2 plus 3, I can make a choice. Do I want to do 1 plus 2 first? Or do I want to do 2 plus 3 first? The key thing for the associative property is the word grouping. That's those parentheses that I put them around 1 plus 2 over here and 2 plus 3 over here. They tell us to do it first. Whenever you see grouping, you do it first. So let's get started. Example 1. Sid has 4 blue pens and 5 red pens. Mario has 5 blue pens and 4 red pens. How many pens does each boy have? So let's find 4 plus 5, we get 9. And 5 plus 4, we get 9. Sid has 9 pens and Mario has 9 pens. So this is showing us the commutative property of addition. It tells us we can flip-flop the numbers and that's not going to change the answer. Here's example 2. Anna practiced the piano for 3 hours on Friday. She did not practice at all. 0 hours on Saturday. How many hours did she practice altogether? So I can do 3 plus 0 is itself 3. And 0 plus 3 is 3. Anna practiced 3 hours altogether. This shows us the identity property, that any number plus 0 is going to be itself. That's kind of how I like to remember it, the identity property. Sometimes you may want to group numbers in a way that makes them easier to add in your head. When we add things in our head and do things in our head, it's called mental math. Okay, so example 3 here, Matthew saw 9 sailboats, 4 rowboats, and 6 canoes on the lake. How many boats did he see altogether? Okay, so if we look here, I've got 9 plus 4 plus 6. Parentheses, that's these kind of things going around the 9 and 4, show how to group operations. The parentheses tell you to do it first. And now, since I know that 4 plus 6 makes a 10, I think adding 10 plus 9 is much easier than doing 9 plus 4 I've got to figure out, and then I've got to add 6 to it. So, since 4 plus 6 equals 10, finding 4 plus 6 is easier. We always like easier, right? Let's use the associative property to make it easier. So what we're doing here is we're noticing that since 9 plus 4 has parentheses, we can switch it to say 4 plus 6 because that makes a 10. And we like doing addition problems with tens, hundreds, thousands, right? And 9 plus 10 is 19. There we go. So 9 plus 4 plus 6 is 19. And there are 19 boats on the lake. So our associative property says, hey, you don't have to do 9 plus 4 first. You can switch the parentheses and do 4 plus 6 first. Because parentheses means do it first. Here's a little guided practice here. Find each sum, which is the answer to an addition problem, and draw a line to the correct addition property. Okay, so here I have 6 plus 5. That makes 11. 5 plus 6, that also makes 11. Now I'm noticing we're flip-flopping the numbers, and that flip-flop property is called commutative property. Okay, now here's my big one for number 2. Look at these grouping symbols. Grouping is always the associative property, but let's take a look at why are we grouping. Look at, we made a 10. 7 plus 3 makes 10, and 10 plus 5 is 15. If I solve the way number 2 is looking at us, we'd say 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 3 more is 15. Now that one took a little more brain power than the 7 plus 3 is a 10, and then adding the 5. That's why we like the associative property, because it makes things easier. And 0 plus 12 is 12. Whenever we're talking about adding 0, we know that it's our friend, the identity property. Stop! If you are a distance learner and you say, Mrs. Hamer, I would like some more examples, you can keep watching. But if you are an in-person learner, you can stop the video right here. You do not need to watch anymore. Close your book, put your packet back into your green folder, and we'll see you tomorrow. If you're a distance learner and you'd like to have a few more examples, you can always come back to this. Why don't you try a few examples on your own, and then you can come back and watch if you'd like. Okay, now I should only have distance learners here, right? All right. Draw lines to match each property of addition with its correct example. So here I see 3 plus 4 is 7, and 4 plus 3 is 7. That's that flip-flop, flip-flop commutative property. All right, that commutative property flip-flops around. Okay, now I have 7 plus 0 equals 7. That's our friend, the identity property, right? We have a 7. If I add nothing to it, I get a 7. It's kind of like looking in the mirror, searching for your identity, right? So that's our identity property. Here I've got those grouping symbols. Whenever we see parentheses, that's our big clue. We're talking associative property, but notice it's saying, hey, you can add 3 plus 4 first, or you can add 7 plus 3 first. Doesn't matter, you're going to get the same answer, but 7 plus 3, we like that better because then you're adding 10 plus 4. If we go over here, you're adding 7 plus 7, which isn't terrible, that's a double, but so that's our friend, the associative property. Find each sum. Identify the addition property. So here I have 46 plus 0 equals 46. That would be the identity property, right? Because if I add nothing to it, it's going to be itself. Okay, so here I'm seeing 7 plus 9. Do it first, then add in the 3. Or I can do 9 plus 3 and then add the 7 in. In either case, let's see, 9 and 7 is going to make 16 plus 3 more is 19. Ugh, it's not fun to do. Here I have 9 plus 3, which this isn't going to be fun either, is 12 plus 7 is 19. Sorry, let me get this down. 16 plus 3. So this is our friend, the associative property. Associative property because we're grouping with those parentheses. All right, let's do the quick vocabulary check here. Draw a line to match the vocabulary words to its example. Okay, so symbols which show grouping are called parentheses. Okay, here we have 3 plus 1 plus 4, where I do 3 plus 1 first, and 3 plus 1 plus 4, where I do 1 plus 4 first, showing I get the same sum or answer. It's called the associative property, and I notice those grouping symbols. That's really the key example of associative property. Okay, I have 5 plus 6 equals 11, and 6 plus 5 equals 11. That's that flip-flop commutative. And 2 plus 0 equals 2 is our identity. Test practice. Which number sentence is an example of the associative property? Well, I'm looking for those grouping symbols, those parentheses. Here they are. 8 plus 2 plus 5 and 2 plus 5 plus 8 are going to get me the same answer. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.